Welcome. God, I, how do I not record? So I cut my hair. Cool. Okay. I'm 4.5 minutes in this video.
In today's video, we're going fossil hunting after a storm.
I'm gonna do a reaction, basically.
We find an absolutely enormous ammonite nodule, which we extract from the beach, and our dad fully prepares. We've got the fully finished specimen to show you at the end of the video.
Wow. I wonder if this is their stash, because it's literally all... They all have spirals in it.
Dad fully prepares. We've got the fully finished specimen to show you at the end of the video. Not only that, but we find lots of other fossils along the way. I hope you enjoy it.
We've come out fossil hunting today. The first thing we're going to do is have a look at the big shale fall, which I'll show you in just a moment. After that, we're going to head up further up the beach and see what we can find.
There's a few pretty big slabs here that have been washed across the beach by the tide.
It's late. If I take my time and go through this too much, it's gonna be real late. But I'm just gonna get going. There's lines, cracks that are I'm just noting it. Also over here looks pretty tile-like.
However, the main fall itself is right over here.
Just the way it's very...
Look at the size of that. Let's go have a look and see if there's any fossils to be found. Initially, I've just picked up this little piece of shale. It's got some iron pyrite within it. It's not too uncommon, but pretty interesting appearance. Let's look for some more fossils though.
Like there, that's definitely like an ammonite shape in part, that like all of these have some semblance of, like here, even though it's just like a rock of shale that doesn't have a truly ammonite shape. It's essentially gone through the same process, it just hasn't reached the same degree of being shaped. Anyway, there's so many cool things. It doesn't matter about the things that are subtle, like right here.
A few people down on the beach having a look.
Incredible. Looks like there's a row of them here. Also, this one snapped down the middle. These probably, maybe all of them snapped down the middle. Although this one, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe like it extended out this way, and like they literally like, maybe there's blocks. Like how it forms is it physically has blocks, just like a that doesn't connect, so to speak, except for when it really has energy flows. Like it's a single layer, but then an energy flow creates two blocks, let's say, that then between them is physically hooked together at different places by basically ammonite shapes that just form when currents are shaping these like chunks of different scales in different ways. So this is incredible. I wonder if this is even like fractally like its own, like one of just like right here. Like it's got really like surface roughness here of the layers, even though it just broke. Like it was a single. This is a landslide that this block was part of some segment that then fell apart, so it broke. And this is what is revealed within the breaking segment. Truly incredible.
Sure, there should be some fossils later on for us to find as well.
Looks like there was a little bit of something on the side there that we can see. Like these things going on. There's probably features also, just this like node out kind of thing protruding. I don't know. It's just something that happens a lot. That, the way the water is on it, looks kind of like a seashell.
Look fresh out.
Like these are all little pockets that current got contained within, and like in the currents in the ocean. Like imagine Earth.null, this one. Imagine ocean currents. Like all of these, like here's a layer, and then within this layer, between here, like that, generally speaking, there are like nodes that then regularly form like between the layers, and at those nodes there's their own boundaries that eddies form that then create like a differentiation between the units. And in some instances the eddies are like this and barely noticeable. Like where is that eddy? Like it's like, whereas over here it's an ammonite. Like, oh, there's an ammonite here. There's an ammonite here, but these are just like shale slabs that are like kind of shaped like ammonites. Just for comparison, like it depends on the circumstances, particular cases, what actually emerges.
Even if there's no 3D fossils, there should be some nice examples.
That's just incredible. I feel like there's something very fractally important about this.
Washed flat.
There's some more right there. Another ammonite at the boundary, being like a hook right there, and just all their features. I'm sure there's more in that stone. Whoa, 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 whoa! I might have to slow this down. That's cool right there, too. Like subtle ammonite features. Right there, like subtle ammonite features. Like the currents are flowing but not producing an ammonite. I know scientific interpretation would be like, well, it depends on the fossilization process of how much it's preserved from its original state. Little node there, looks like node there. That looked, the top looked like the way it was draining into it there. These pockets, like maybe pointing to some kind of process, like part of the process as a whole, like draining between layers, creating eddies, or something to do with drainage. Which reminds me of shallograms that I don't know if I took the picture of. If I did, they'd be down here. I didn't bother. I can find them. It's worth finding them real quick. They're cool enough that we can just skim through them. And it's not too bad. But we're looking for one that's just a single chakra. Two of them actually, but just one of them is enough. And then at the chakra, it looks literally like a bathtub, like drain, like screen mesh thing. It looks like a drain. And the way the rock itself looks like it had a lot of energy. Like, these are much more, like, uniform, generally speaking, outside of the fossil feature. I hope I didn't pass it. It's more of this color, like a brown. It's kind of this nature. Let's see how this one looks. Maybe we can just pull these up as we go. Just in case. Another one. They don't have the actual... It's literally holes. Still doesn't have the... It just shows it so well because it has like cross beam structure to it. It's not just like an empty void that shows nothing. It shows the structure of the process because it didn't fully remove that layer, but it removed enough to like here, for instance, it looks like it removed much more in this region. I thought it was closer than that. Oh, me. Sorry. This one's maybe a good example. This is probably worth pulling up because we're for sure going to see that feature. Not the one I'm looking for, though. There's so many of these. I hope you're just enjoying checking them out as I scroll too fast. Oh, it's impossible. It's impossible. It's probably worth pulling up too. Which reminds me, Reddit is in this like sharing of all the columnar basalts images like across the world. It's cool. since I did just make a video about all the spheres across the world, and I don't really quite understand what's going on with the hexagonal patterns. I can't believe I haven't found this yet. There's 2 of them. I thought for sure since there were 2 of them. I probably scrolled past it. Okay. Feel free to just fast forward, I guess. I should probably think to say things like that when I just do this. I mean, of course, just fast forward whenever, but especially these instances where I'm just kind of perusing through. I mean, there's certainly things interesting going on in terms of just looking, but maybe I'm adding some feedback. Wow, that's cool. I'm just opening these now. This is what happens when I look at these. Pull out. There it is. There it is. There it is. Like, what is up with that? And then like, that's not this. I don't think that if this continued, I don't think it would be angled here. I think it would be angled more this, like that. Not quite that far to the right. I mean, maybe this would be representative of it, but maybe this is why that's there, is because of this feature. Maybe they're like splitting, like a current physically goes atop this, over and down, and then it runs into like this stretch and separates down into the valleys and goes around and carves around over enough current going through it. Let's see what else this looks like. Like there's a crack. We can kind of see right here, like it went through it. Whatever was going through these whole openings physically went through the stone and just out this crack. Or vice versa. I mean, it's possible it did it the other way. Maybe if I think about it, like one way or the other. Like, given that it's all carved here and there, like it looks like the exposing the carving is making it this color, so I would say this is where the current was flowing, and then it went through like a jet stream, like literally. And even it looks like at this along the crack, literally it's a jet stream between 2 layers of this upper half of the stone and the bottom half of the stone, which are conjoined, so there's pressure holding them together. But there's a lot of other pressure involved that's flowing a current physically in a contained region of this stone down into it and through it. And so much so that it looks like it creates a like little shallogram kind of shape here, where it has a larger bulb and a smaller. So we're gonna see some interesting things with like between the layers with what's going on here, and that's why I hit record to talk about that topic. Maybe we can go back to full speed now.
A bit more there as well. Of course, that's not what we're looking for.
It could be some kind of like debris, pyrite. Like, I'm just thinking literally it would just be cool if it was literally like a miniature supernova, like beta decay, like particles that are those blobs that he's finding around the place. That's on a different scale where the atom is the ammonite.
Still nice to see.
Ooh, okay, 1 second there.
Still.
Again, though, we see the ammonites. That's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if a current was flowing through the layer, like that stone in this instance, but it was just through the layer. But in this instance, it created like a shallogram, like that shallogram literally did exactly this, where it started to literally create a large and small containers as a positive negative with a separator region. Right here, where a current's flowing, but then it's eddies because it basically is flowing and then it runs into pressure, but it's in a container where there's all of this stone around it, so it's flowing down this channel, and then there's this pressure behind it pushing it, so it starts to swirl at the end of the channel, which maybe is why these form between systems, because there's two systems energetically, but that aren't necessarily like bonded through these ammonite structures, but also like in this happening, it's also like separating them into two systems in essence. Like it's a single shale layer, but then a current comes through and divides it into many parts and then makes ammonites within it. But it was like a homogeneous, like mixture. Homogeneous? A mixture, like well mixed, but without any like boundary except the larger boundary. But then these currents come through and create smaller boundaries, but in so doing, they create basically places where the current flows through and runs into resistance at the boundary, and it literally goes into the boundary, like it doesn't just like hit the boundary and stop, it cuts in as far as it can, and then it flows back out. So it goes in as far as it can, turns, and back out, but then it runs into the current that's coming. So then it turns around, it basically gets turned around again, and this vortex starts, which then forms at the boundary. So a good example of that is the Western North America and the magnetic anomaly map of Earth, where there's a current coming in, running into this boundary that was the Laurentian boundary right along here, going down to here, down basically there, something along those lines. It was the Laurentian boundary, but there was essentially a boundary here that was much more present as the systems were forming these like separate systems of continents. Like it was a single landmass. All the continents were conjoined in one landmass. There were no continents basically, except for that there was a different ocean that then divided the land in I don't know exactly what ways, except for that there was for sure a large ocean in the northern Canada in this region that had a huge influence on this region. But so that's probably even related. Maybe we can say there's water above. That's probably playing into it. It's not that they're like these are ocean creatures. I know they're like presently shells that look like them are ocean creatures, so it's easy to be like, well, what are you fucking saying, dude? It's not that they're ocean creatures, it's that there's water is part of their formation process, where there maybe, I'm just spitballing here given this like chain of thoughts that I'm having from this, is that this is basically an ammonite right here. There's many ammonites on Earth that I talk about all over the place. Probably the best example is the one in northern Australia through Papua New Guinea and Atoll here that formed where 4 currents were, at least 3, I think. And basically one that was forming the Mariana Trench, a current coming from this way. Here was flowing this way and then ran into here. But Australia was there at the time, so it actually was running into here. But then Australia was all the way over here. Papua New Guinea was here, so there's a current coming this way that then basically were counter to one another. Probably maybe even counter and then moving to a 120-degree angle relative to one another, where a third current became involved, basically flowing under Antarctica and then through eastern Australia, where then in all 3 of these then led to this ammonite feature being very distinct here. But then there's also the one, many really, but this largest one centered on Bighorn Mountain, but with Yellowstone as part of this like ammonites components system. And it is basically a current that pushed in, I believe, caused by the current flowing actually from the Mariana Trench current, or from over here, sorry. Basically here, this way, here, and then to this region, which then was over here and flowing in this way. And then there's another current coming up this way that goes in here, goes up and down and divides this current here, up and down and divides. And that one runs into this region. So and then there's also current coming generally across this way. So there's many currents interacting that then lead to this containment within the layers, like below the crust. This isn't like atop the crust, at least not entirely. At times it's definitely atop the crust, and it's definitely influencing the top of the crust. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, let's move on. Maybe not drink coffee.
There's absolutely loads of fossils all just in this little area here. I've noticed there's loads of compressed ammonites on the surface of this slab, and on the opposite side of this huge lump of shale, there's a really large ammonite that someone started to expose.
So this is what I'm talking about, where we got a layer on layer on layer on layer on layer, and then currents flowing through the layer that then create just ammonite shapes all over the place in subtle ways. Like there's probably even ones like that are like here, like composed of the ammonites are like part of another ammonite in ways that make no sense. We'll see what we can find. I'm just spitballing here. I can kind of see because I'm so willing, maybe, but also in like I've done it so much. I can like looking at things like this where I can kind of be like, okay, these features here are immediately drawing my eye, and that does something spiral around it and just look. And sometimes it really like leads to noticing things. In this instance, it looks plausible, like the way these are. Like maybe a good example is that one that had sand, or sand. Oh my god, he said sand. I don't even want to show you the one I meant. Especially this one, like a sand. Quartz, maybe? I'm not sure what that is. I'm just gonna say quartz. Which is sand, but calling it sand. Anyway, these pockets. Let's not get stuck up on me. Those pockets, there. Sorry, I kind of moved on because
I suppose it's been a big slab of shale initially, but it's naturally been.
I know he's going to show some more.
It's exposed large ammonite fossil.
Like it. Here's my thoughts. Is it probably continues here? Like it in a subtle way, and then up here as well. Where, like, according to science, here's the fossil's boundaries. But, like, we see the boundaries down here, around, up, through here, and then again from here over this way, down here, over here, down across. And we even see, like, a dendritic, like, just coloration difference going on, like the dendrites section.
Smaller ammonite specimens as well.
I was looking, are there any like subtle ammonites, like real subtle things? I know I saw something that I was like, oh my god, there's one. It was just like a little boop. That's incredible.
Still pretty nice detail, but of course they're all
Oh my god.
compressed completely. Flat and lots of nice shells. So as you can see, that there.
Like you can see the extension around it, and I guess scientists are obviously not that oblivious. They see this and they just say that the rocks form around the fossil and like depict its features because they can't explain it. It's, oh my god, it doesn't actually make sense.
That is a pretty nice selection of
Like, this doesn't actually make sense. Just utterly filled with ammonites in a layer. All of them in a layer. Where are they facing upward? And then on top of that, they're sorted perfectly, really. Like they're filled in. And here's the critical element. They probably flow with one another as currents do.
between the next crack. There's also
I know I could kind of look at that, but that one's just not, it's just not clear enough. I've done it before. I've literally done it before.
mainly shells more than anything else, as well as a couple of ammonites.
And I don't mean like alone, like I've documented it. Let's just check it out real quick. Which video? It's one of my videos. Your videos. It's the one with a fossil on it. This one. Evolving current understanding. See? That's a clearly it's about the evolving understanding of the current flows in stones like this.
And then the biggest fossil that we've found so far.
I just had a thought of like, what? I'm not sure what to make of these from like the angle of my interpretation. They're kind of, essentially there's some sort of like focal point node where energy propagates from, like an earthquake or like a tsunami maybe is more apt. I'm not sure if earthquakes tend to behave so arced.
And then the biggest fossil that we've found so far is around here. Might be pretty obvious where the fossil is, but I'll give you a second to try and spot it.
Like this curve right here. Like someone someone else looking at this rock might not find that of any interest, but I'll take note of it. I'm like, that curve looks a lot like that kind of curve, maybe bigger. Just I don't know why exactly, but fractal things going on, like maybe even whatever these chunks combine as. Like some of them maybe have more ammonite-like features. Like maybe each of these are like a little one of these slabs that all kind of look straight together, but then also are more a little more fanned out.
Pretty easy to see, but the large ammonite is right up there. Let's get a closer look at it.
Like the curvature. That's okay, but like it's clear as day that this feature does not stop here. It literally continues out to here and then over this way. And then basically stops here at this crack that goes across the ammonite, which is just standard for how they form, where there's cross currents, like making it across, but also spinning and all sorts of things going on, like an exhaust. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly where the currents go from here. Like once they get here, I know they like go this way here and swirl here. So there's all sorts of things going on. And other currents coming from over this way. All over the place, just from all over the place pretty much. So it's hard to account for exactly what happens after they like flow together and then ammonite shape. Like I don't know what the hell they do after that. Your guys' guess is as good as mine, maybe. Unless you think plate tectonics is so, then maybe not. Sorry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. Made it all of 3-4 minutes. 10 minutes per minute of this reaction. Isn't that incredible? Wow. That's a big one. And it's got a lot of details around it that are nice and clean, like here. Like we can see maybe the curvatures of these cracks are related to the actual current flow paths. Like they're not just random. And maybe they went across this way in here and through around this way. And then it looks like looking down here, they went more so across here. And then across this way, like they're flowing this way. So anything that was past the ammonite went around as a boundary and held a boundary. Like it wasn't just like la la la, like it was a lot of energy still holding a boundary. Just thinking. Flowing also creating another boundary though with that structure here. And then maybe like at some exact point of resistance creating this line that just flowed out like at an angle that way, because it just tends to happen in ammonites where there's like a cross current visible in places. Like let's pull up some examples. Like that, for instance. This is from his channel. Thinking there's more to that. Here. Just like cross currents. Okay. Let's keep going though. Oh my god. And it looks kind of like it's like little sheets, one on top of another, but literally like little sheets. that are more puddled over here in the shale. Like it's thicker. Down here it's thinner.
It's really large. You can see a few chisel marks where someone's tried to reveal a little part of the fossil. And it's been left here really nicely for everyone to see as they walk along. Really nice example.
In one of the slabs, I've noticed a large nodule with what looks to be a perfect ammonite showing. So let's go and reveal it and see what's inside.
This looks like part of a fragma cone. And just slightly above that, notice here, perfect ammonite. At first I thought someone might have tried to extract it already, but I think that's just the natural marking on the rock. So I think this should be pretty easy. Just to tap out with the hammer and chisel. Just loosen the shale slightly. Nodule should almost be ready to come out. There we go. Whoa, look at the detail on that. That is absolutely perfect. Complete all the way to the mouth border. That's a really, really nice example. As well as this specimen, I also have found a smaller nodule with pretty compressed ammonite inside.
Whoa, look at those lines.
And this nodule, much bigger, what appears to be most likely.
Ooh, it's just immediately reminding me of this. Behind, on the, here's the ammonite, and then down below it is this a cross.
A complete ammonite specimen, potentially a little bit crushed, although given the size of the nodule, I'm hopeful that the specimen inside will be 3D, so we'll definitely have to be opening these up pretty soon. Just walking along and I've spotted a nice block full of fossil bones. I'm not entirely sure what they are at the moment, but I'll walk along and see if you can spot them as well.
Fossil hunting. Oh, I see something right there.
Have you seen where they are? The bones are in shot right now. Give you a few more moments just to check whether you've seen them or not.
There's something interesting
Those
there.
bones are right down here.
Yeah, this.
See what they are.
Oh.
Looks to me like gyrosteus bones.
Looks like ammonites. That's incredible.
One of the big sturgeon
Like that looks just like the ammonite structures we've been looking at that are cut across, broken.
fish that used to live in the Jurassic. Some pretty sizable lumps of bone and cartilage within this block. Pretty nice find. Great. It's a pretty nice big block of coral, which I've just noticed.
Makes me think of this being like how living beings are generally energetically too. Like there's probably some important information for like actual human being construction in terms of like energetically what's actually happening with our beings.
this is.
What is that thing right there?
Potentially quite an easy one, but there's the block.
I was busy looking at what in the hell.
Right there.
I'm not even sure what we're looking for now.
Let's get closer.
Ooh. Whoa. It's like little bubbles. They've got little bubbles. They're like seed embryo something ammonites, like they're little some
You can notice some of the lovely features.
I know they're not ammonites, but I'm just thinking they're like some
Close-up of it now as well.
starter to the process.
This is a really lovely example.
There's
Lots
like
of really
a
brilliant
seed,
definition.
the nucleus. That's incredible. They got real good cameras to be able to capture that close. Oh my god. That is real good.
You can see some of the stems along way there. And
Wow.
some of the others are cross-sectioned.
Oh, these are cross sections.
Quite a nice variety of specimens here, really.
Oh my god.
Quite a lot.
Wait, these are cross sections of elongated things?
Yeah, really. Quite a lot of it is pretty. On this side, lots of nice features to see.
I've just come over to another part of the beach and I've noticed a really large nodule. There looks to be a huge ammonite preserved inside it, but it looks pretty crushed. After we've had a look for some more fossils, let's open it up and see what's inside. It's a pretty big nodule though, so it might be quite a task.
It's another nice nodule I've spotted, or is potentially nice.
Oh my god.
Come along and see if you can find where it is.
What did he didn't mean this rock right here with these little arcs in it? Oh my god.
Potentially nice nodule.
What is going on there? I mean, it looks so much like shallogram features.
I'll pan along and see if you can find where it is.
Like, I wouldn't say there's an ammonite feature there, but it just shows, like what I was saying, like it partially forms the structures.
Can you see where it is? This nodule looks to be right there, and I'm hoping
Look
it's
at the nodules.
a nice pocket inside. Oh yeah,
That's cool.
it's got a large Dactylioceras inside it. That's great. This naturally sea-worn stone has several ammonite specimens and even a belemnite specimen.
Oh my god. The way these are.
All on the surface. They look pretty nice.
The way these are. Wow.
One of the only belemnite fossils that we've seen today.
That's so cool. Is that where the Star Trek symbol comes from? Like right there, there's a shallogram ammonite structure, but it's only half of it because the other piece is in another rock and it's subtle, so it's just like how it's eroded. And then whatever happened with that. That looks like maybe, I don't even know. Whoa, that was cool. This place is incredible. There's so much and so many cool rocks here. Like this. They're all cool. Every rock here is cool. That's probably just truth. Everywhere. There's not ammonites everywhere, though. It's probably ammonites where water was above, heat below, current moving side to side. Some kind of boundary regions, too, maybe. Maybe not, I don't know. That looks like a shallogram. Like the way shallograms frequently just look like some mess. I'm sure you saw some shallograms if you were watching me scroll through all those that are kind of like that.
Overall, we've found a great selection of fossils today. We've had a few really lovely, perfect ammonites within nodules, as well as a few compressed fossils within the shale. There's also that really large, suspicious nodule, which we're going to be opening up very shortly. The next thing we're going to do is crack open the nodules that we have already found on the beach. After we have opened those up, we're going to go and inspect the larger fossil a lot more closely. There's still lots to look forward to in today's video.
Oh, snap. I think I'm gonna scroll through the rest, though. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta get to bed. Let's see. Okay, this just nodules, standard, so to speak. It's always... Let's check it out.
And this one was much better preserved inside. This is exactly what we were looking for.
Shoot. Alright. Oh, that's cool. Looks like a cross current there visible again. Oh my. Right up to the edge. Right up to the edge. It even has this extended outline around it. That's like shallogram level of disproof. Everything about this stone disproves science. Oh my god. Wow. Like this. And then the crack going up this way. Oh my god. It's even got ripples. Like the shallogram, like the gear teeth, whatever.
Specimen to see. This is one I'll be leaving here for other people to see as they walk along. A really nice piece.
Wow.
here, huge nodule, has what looks to be a really large ammonite preserved inside it. Some part of the outer wall here. It looks like the majority of it is probably not preserved very well. Might be crushed flat or not even preserved at all.
Wow. Okay, let's check it out.
Still nothing there.
Ooh.
Gosh.
That thing's huge.
Seeing that, that's what I've just literally exposed. Lovely outer edge. That looks really, really promising. However, the block is far too big to carry off in its current state. I'm gonna have to.
Oh my god. It's got like the color things going on all the way out here. It's because the whole block is really part of it.
Remove some of
I
the
guess it's probably a beast of an ammonite right there. I mean, this is really part of the ammonite. It's like the shallogram.
I've just revealed this piece now. This is what cracked and came away to reveal.
The matrix.
The outer wall.
It's actually part of the system, though. That is like maybe it's cloud. I don't know exactly. Like it's Ord cloud,
This is certainly looking like it
halo, galactic halo.
Really wasn't expecting it to be turning out as well as this. This is really exciting. Well, the only thing we can do is remove some more of the limestone. Realistically, there's no way this could be rucksacked off in the size it is. It's really, really heavy. I'll remove a bit more limestone, then we'll take it in as big a piece as we can.
Well, I've reduced it down to a smaller size as best as I can, and I've not looked at it yet.
This piece of limestone has also come away revealed, hopefully, nice 3D edged specimen.
Oh, brilliant! Oh my gosh! Look at that! I am over the moon! Got the perfect edge here, comes all the way around. There it is.
Absolutely.
I totally forgot I was streaming. Or recording, I mean. For like a split second there.
Really, really nice piece. Found very, very few, maybe even only one or two, my entire time fossil hunting.
It looks like a little offshoot system, maybe.
Colossus of this size, so I'm absolutely thrilled to have found this. That is awesome. Here's the ammonites we opened up. I also opened this little specimen off camera.
That one's got some coloration in it.
Compare. You can see the size difference in these ammonites. You can sort of tell what that one's going to look like by the time it's finished.
Okay, we're gonna check out some.
As I mentioned earlier in the video, I've only ever found a couple of specimens similar to this, but this is by far the best preserved specimen of this type of ammonite that I've ever found.
Again with the crack though, because it's not like, oh darn, it's blemished. That's just how it happens.
It's a really, really rare piece. Initially, when we'd found it, we were wondering whether the specimen would have been complete all the way to the centre, and it is indeed. The fossil is complete. One of the trickiest parts was removing all the limestone from the soft, delicate shell underneath. But our dad has done an absolutely magnificent job. Just look at the detail on this shell. He's also prepared it all the way down to the centre of the ammonite, as you can see. Not only that, but he's made an incredible mouth border on the ammonite specimen.
Yeah, that's real nicely
There's
done.
also still some of the suture patterns present as well. They're a really nice feature, which just add to the piece. All in all, we couldn't be much happier with this specimen whatsoever. I'm so glad that we decided to break open that nodule and see if it was complete inside.
Does it? Spiral on top of itself instead of around itself?
And it's really paid off. It was a lot of effort getting this piece to where it is today, but it's been absolutely worth it. Let us know down in the comments what you think about this specimen. Just to round off the video, I've got a scenery shot from today's fossil hunt. It was quite stormy. Hope you enjoy this, and we will see you in the next video.
Maybe I should real quick before it's already late enough. I might as well real quick before I stop. It might have been... It's probably one of these two.
In today's video, we've got 3 days worth of fossil hunting.
Oh my god, they opened that one. I don't think I saw this one. I was waiting for that one. That rocky padded.
They're pretty intricate.
Oh no, I did see this one. There's some incredible things in here. I don't know if I can quickly find them. There's again that like a cross crack because a current went that way, causing the ammonite. That looked pretty crazy, honestly.
Split it open and then polished up. Contains a really large Elegantissima ammonite.
Actual shale bed itself, a few belemnite fossils.
Like right there, it looks like the center of an ammonite that then spirals out like generally around it. Just from the zoom in that I just saw here, let's just...
This isn't actually part of the fall, but
going up this way around here. Like a 9, but then another 9.
On the actual shale bed itself, there's a few belemnite fossils. Big parts of very large fossil shells. Another belemnite.
Just pointing to some current aspect of it that's not clear in the ammonites, but becomes clear when it's different scales, and then like we start to see the ammonite as so subtle that it's like the rock itself, and then within the rock itself has in these features.
It's either being a little tree trunk or a huge branch.
Or an ammonite feature.
Very large fossil shells. Another
I'm not
belemnite.
sure what ammonite feature that would be. The current flow.
It's either being a little tree trunk or a huge branch.
Some kind of bleeding of the current flow. I don't know.
I wonder if that's a little branch, that's part of the tree trunk. I've just removed this little nodule, and that one was really squashed, as we expected. And then this nodule, which I've just tapped and haven't yet opened,
Okay.
fingers crossed.
Let me real quick see if I can find.
Preserved Dactylioceras tenucostata ammonite.
The edge broken. This one's spiraling out that way. This one's spiraling out the same way. That's probably a little anomalous. I'd have to think about it. Like, generally speaking, it's easy for me to be like, makes sense when it's spiraling off its back the opposite way. But maybe there's something that points to that I'm just not thinking of. Why I would do that. 'Cause fossils did. Oh, God. Good thing we considered that other route whatsoever, and you guys were just certain about it's fossils there. Oh, we know it ain't that. Mm-hmm. How do you know that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, fucking. Sorry. I mean, right here we can see like an ammonite. Like, this is cool right there. It reminds me of this shallogram that hopefully I will find quickly. Yeah, right. Oh, Lord. Why do you... Would you stop it? Maybe... No... Basically, it just... It's so good of a picture, though. And okay, maybe this one might have something, at least. I guess there, that's fine, whatever. Just the way it's not, like, actually carved out, but it just has the etching. Across all the way over here, and then it even is this boundary right here, which is pretty interesting. But she's just hitting because that's not even related to the what he's trying to get to. Oh my god. I guess he's just breaking apart this stack of them. Oh my god. Maybe he just knew there was a bunch in there. Since I skipped ahead, I don't know what was happening. Okay, okay. Skip ahead some more. Okay. This is incredible. It's like an elbow, literally. Maybe that's kind of like fingers holding it.
Got a nice big crack down
Like
it
the
as well.
hand of
A little
God.
inside, if anything. If Shay was here with me, we'd probably open this one up.
Which reminds me of ice circle. These things.
Conditions can.
Literally, like this spinning while a current is flowing past it that then becomes ultimately this by the process of differentiation, like separation, and just basically creating structures that have different materials and patterns because the currents are flowing. So it's like it's actually holding it in a way where it's like maybe reminds me of.
We've also got quite a few fossils in the actual bedrock itself. Some nice bits of fossil shells. That one's quite worn though.
I think it's here.
Fossil wood.
This one.
Hopefully we can find a nice ammonite or two.
Just more like here or here, maybe. I don't know. I guess this would make more sense. Like it's weaker there, so it'd probably break off this way, stay here. Just in this instance, it's not as ammonite-y on the outside, but it's got all sorts of evidence of the current flows around it.
Massive. Another little belemnite fossil there.
I don't think they take it out. Alright, I'm just gonna stop. Alright, peace out, guys. Thanks for hanging out. It was a pleasure.